So, we're back again, guys. Code, who had decided that he would kill everyone precious to Ida and Kawaki, now had a new plan. The 10 tails that have been sealed in a place that only time and space ninjutsu can enter, Code plans to create a new army from the 10 tails. Even though that place can only be entered by time and space ninjutsu, but Code was able to enter that place because Jigen had previously taken him to that place and Code had left his claw marks there. And that was the reason why he was able to enter that place. And now that Sasuke has lost the Eye of Rinnegan, it is certain that Sasuke will not be able to enter this place again. But there is another problem. With Boruto and Kawaki having fully become Otsutsuki, it will become dangerous, because then it will not be long before they master the ninjutsu of time and space. But because in Chapter 4, 2 Blue Vortex Boruto has mastered the jutsu with the name Flying Reijin Jutsu, Boruto has managed to enter the place where the 10 tail is sealed. But the difference with now, the state and shape of the 10 tail looks so small when Boruto sees the 10 tail for the first time. And the reason why the shape of the 10 tail becomes small, because in this chapter Code adjusts the size of the 10 tail. In other words, Code created an army called Tsumeaka, which will help him provide additional strength to help him fight them. Oh yeah. After Code's defeat against Demon, he just realized that the power of Damon was beyond expectations. And even though Code had awakened all his power, it was still not enough to fight Damon. And this is where Code planned to adjust the size of the 10 tails. Using the claw marks, he tied all the body parts of the 10 tails, starting from the head, tail, and others. And since Code had previously gained all his powers due to Amado's help, now Code could use the ability that could enwrap the 10 tails. And since Code had also previously created the claw marks made from a mixture of iron and his blood, it meant that he could create a weapon from the 10 tails in a form that he could control. And the longer the 10 tails are covered by Code's claw marks, the smaller they get. But if we look, the spines keep getting bigger. And since the 10 tails are basically just a collection of chakras, Code just breaks them into smaller pieces. In other words, like pinching pieces of molding clay. And after a few minutes, the thorns that formed from Code's claw marks morphed into a monster with a body covered in claw marks, and they were called Tsumeaka. With a monster-like form and a tailed star, the creature could also use claw marks because it was previously created from a portion of Code's chakra and blood. And because the size of the 10 tail became smaller, it was easier to control and would be more useful if used for fighting. But before we see what plan Code will start, we return to see Boruto and others who have been in the Hokage room after previously getting a call from Shikamaru. But who would have thought? It turned out that Kawaki was also there to be a little surprised to see Boruto alive. Sumire even panicked a little to see the two after listening to Kawaki's conversation with Naruto about him killing his son. But in essence, Shikamaru explained to them all about what had happened in Konoha. Shikamaru also even mentioned about Momoshiki, who could not be sure when he would take Boruto's consciousness and go on a rampage. Moreover, another problem is that now Boruto is completely Otsutsuki. With an anxious face, Boruto seemed to feel that this would be a bad feeling. And not only Boruto, Shikamaru also even mentioned about Kawaki. With a nature that is difficult to manage or can be said to be never cooperative, this will be difficult for Konoha to control after Kawaki gets his karma back, along with Ishiki's ability. Shikamaru also assumed and said, although it is different from Boruto and Momoshiki, there is still a possibility that Ishiki could be like Momoshiki, entering the body, which is the vessel that stores the soul and power. But because Shikamaru explained too much and even said that with this condition it meant that they were considered a threat, Kawaki was annoyed by Shikamaru's words and even sounded long-winded without telling the truth. But in this dispute, Sarada tried to be the mediator and said that it was a condition that actually happened in Konoha, and Shikamaru's goal was just to make sure that the two of them realized it. In other words, because Boruto and Kawaki's existence was in Konoha, then it would certainly become a problem or a time bomb where it could happen a chaos that was never imagined or predicted. And then Shikamaru also explained about Amado, who was still alive, and his condition was now fine. But certainly Amado has removed the limiter of Code's power. Even hearing that Code could surpass Jigen, they became shocked because previously to defeat Jigen, Naruto and Sasuke had to fully use their strength, although in the end, the two of them could not defeat Jigen. But in conclusion, although they assumed that the mission this time was to defeat Code, using the power of Otsutsuki that Boruto and Kawaki had, Shikamaru confirmed that this was not the mission. Because after Code attacked the Amado lab, there was a woman who appeared by the name Ida. Even Shikamaru also provided additional information if Ida had an ability like hypnosis that could make someone become fascinated or become helpless. But even though they were initially confused about how to overcome it, while Shikamaru and Delta couldn't, Shikamaru explained that there was a loophole or way to deal with her ability, and that can only be done by someone called an Otsutsuki, because only those who have the ability have an immune effect on Ida's ability, and that means only Kawaki and Boruto can fight or counter Ida's ability. But from that conclusion, Sarada and others assumed again that the mission was to take down Ida, but again, it turned out that that was not the mission they were going to get. But before Shikamaru explained the truth, we saw Amado and others on a train heading to Konoha, and it was revealed that Ida, who was on the train from the beginning, had spied on Shikamaru's chatter through Senrigan's eyes. Even Ida was curious about what Shikamaru was planning, and yes, from what Shikamaru said, it made the others confused. But in conclusion, Ada, who had previously been Code's partner and helped him gain all his power and become an enemy of Konoha, had broken ties with Code, and that meant Ada accepted Shikamaru's offer to move to Konoha. So actually, in this situation, Konoha is looking for a favorable option, and if it is safe for the village. Because basically, Ada is a strong person who, even with her abilities and power, cannot be influenced by anyone, not even the Hokage. With all her abilities, Ida does not need to follow anyone's orders. And if she wanted, there would be nothing difficult for her in taking over Konoha. In fact, not only Konoha, but the entire Land of Fire, even the world. Ida could do that if she wanted. Although this sounds too much, but that's what Shikamaru said. And in the end, Shikamaru gave a mission to all of them to avoid Ida as an enemy. And more precisely, they had to cohabitate with Ida. But their reactions looked confused and even thought it was a joke. But Konohamaru emphasized that it was serious, even very serious. And because of that, Boruto and Kawaki would cohabit with Ida. Even the shocked reaction was not only theirs to feel, but Ida, who had been spying on them from the beginning, also became shocked after hearing that. And although they still did not believe in what Shikamaru was planning, but Sarada's intuition was so right. In other words, the purpose of Boruto and Kawaki cohabiting with Ada was one of his missions to watch her. With the explanation at the beginning about Ada, Shikamaru said that with the level of risk based on Ida's ability, if supervised by ordinary shinobi, it would be very easy to do voluntarily, even though Ada herself did not intend to do anything. And because only Otsutsuki is not affected by Ada's ability, it would be very appropriate if Boruto and Kawaki were chosen as the people who would supervise Ida. And even though Shikamaru had explained at length, but they still doubted Shikamaru's plan. Even Kawaki also asked what was in it for him. And besides, of all the plans that Shikamaru said, they really weren't sure if it would work that Ida would accept it. But since Shikamaru said that Ida liked Kawaki, then that meant that what Shikamaru said would really work. Instantly, they were shocked to hear that Ida liked Kawaki. Even Ida herself became misbehaved and embarrassed after her feelings for Kawaki were revealed by Shikamaru. Amado and Daemon, who were so confused by Ida's reaction, became curious about what was really going on. Daemon even felt Ida's heart beating very fast, a normal feeling when people are in love. Even with her blush red from embarrassment, Ida felt that she might die before reaching Konoha. Ida, who immediately hugged Daemon, said not to worry because she was fine. Ida even admits that this is actually a good thing because she is currently truly fatally in love and this is what she wants. And since Ida likes Kawaki, then this is the #1 reason why Ida came to Konoha. Although Shikamaru does not want to interfere in Kawaki's personal life or feelings, but Shikamaru reminds Kawaki to be careful and behave towards Ada, because basically, the future of Konoha depends on their actions towards Ida. In this situation, Kawaki had to play his part. Despite his haughty and dismissive behavior, he had to give Ida a gentle attitude so that she would not have any ill will towards Konoha. And if Kawaki treated Ida badly, Konoha would most likely be in danger. But since Ada likes Kawaki, Boruto is confused as to why Ada should choose Kawaki, because basically, with an ability that can fascinate everyone, it would be easy for Ida to make that person like her. With that many choices, Ida can decide and make that person like her. But why would Ida choose Kawaki, who doesn't even have the ability to be interested in her? And yeah, that's right. Sumire's answer makes perfect sense, because even if Ida can make everyone like her, then it means nothing. Because as a woman, Ida wants and feels a normal sense of love without a power or jutsu that can affect someone. And maybe because Kawaki is not affected by Ida's ability, then this is very normal and makes sense if Ida wants true love. And once again, guys, Ida's ability cannot be controlled by herself, so automatically then everyone can be attracted to her ability. And we can see Ida's response that maybe I think Sumire's answer is very reasonable. And because Kawaki heard that mention that Ada is stupid, Shikamaru'd Kawaki to be nice and not talk bad about Ada. Because with Ida's ability, she can see everything and hear clearly from places they can't see. And because of that, the other Boruto panicked and shocked because he knew that Ida's ability was so great that it even sounded cheating. And once again, if Ada is no longer spying on them, there is a high possibility that she can see an event in the past. Although it is not clear how long this ability can see the past, but basically Ada can see events that have already happened, like a person who is watching a replay recording in a video. And because from the beginning they have let and said about this mission, then that means Ada has known about it. Even Shikamaru alluded to Ada by saying that it's true. Ada? Shikamaru seemed to be talking to Ada, where even though Ada was on the train, and that means Shikamaru already understands if what was said from the beginning, Ida has spied on them. And in conclusion, even though Kawaki had refused and chose to fight Code, Shikamaru said that it was impossible, especially the conditions and location where Code was unknown. And one way to find out was Ada. Even Boruto, who got this mission, felt that this was very annoying because he had to be a mediator between Kawaki and Ada. And if Kawaki and Ada did not meet or establish a good relationship, then it meant that the future of Konoha was in danger. What a complicated love story. Oh my god. And in the end, from the conversation, they all agreed with Shikamaru's plan. But before we continue what happened next, maybe we'll continue tomorrow. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subs. I'm Nim. See you in the next chapter. Bye bye, Databayo.